Hi and welcome to the next episode of Qt QML tutorial. Today you will learn how Qt does its magic, what is QObject macro, and what is MetaObject compiler. My name is Lukas Kosinski. I am the CEO at Safe Studio, Qt QML consulting company. We help our customers achieve their objectives by providing them with skilled Qt developers. In the previous lessons, you already learned what the signal and slot system is and how to manage memory in Qt using a parenting system. However, why does all of that actually work? Behind everything is the MetaObject compiler, a tool that comes with the Qt framework. Its main purpose is generating code responsible for the signal and slot mechanism and providing actual implementation of all invocations between slots and signals. Then providing real-time type information that allows us to get information about specific objects during runtime, and also handling Qt property system, which is especially crucial when using QML. We will talk about that briefly later. Let's go deeper. Let's talk about how the meta-object compiler actually works. Its magic takes place at the build stage. That's when MOC scans header files for Qt frameworks, specific macros, such as QObject or QGadget. Then it checks for the presence of other keywords such as signals or slots. It then collects the required data and generates C++ files in the build folder. Using one of the previous projects as an example, I will now show you what a sample mock file looks like. First, we need to enter the build folder of the project from the episode about signals and slots. If you use standard Qt creator and CMake configuration, this is usually the shadow build folder located right next to the project folder. Out again here. And now let's open one of the files with the mock prefix. As you can see, there is a lot going on here, like really a lot. You can probably see that this code here is not very informative. It's not informative at all, but it does not matter actually, because when developing an application in Qt, you will never actually access those files, especially as they are constantly changing. And actually, in order to be able to use mock at all, we need to set CMake automock variable to on in CMake list.txt. Otherwise, our program will most likely not build. Fortunately, in Qt Creator, it automatically adds the necessary flag in the CMake list txt when creating a project. So in 99% of cases, you will not need to worry about that. And yeah, we already talked about signals and slots in the third episode, so I will not explain them again. If you missed it, be sure to check it out again, as it's a key mechanism in the Qt framework and this is viable thanks to this extra build step, which is mock. Another important part of the Qt framework is the ability to add properties to our QObject. What are properties? Properties are like data members that can store some values. Why do you actually need them? Properties are part of Qt's MetaObject system, and with them, you can use generic QObject property and QObject set property functions without knowing anything about the owning class. Of course, as long as it's a QObject. Setting properties can be done dynamically during program's execution, but to be fair, I do not use this functionality so often, but you need to know it so you can better understand how the properties work. Another purpose of properties is ability to make C++ talking with QML, but this will be explained in detail in one of the next episode. Let's make a technical example of that of the properties using the code base from Signals and Slots episode. How do we declare properties? We do that in class definition using QProperty macro. Being in UserInteractor class, let's make the phrase that user types a property. Right after QObject macro, let's add QProperty. As you can see, Qt Creator automatically shows us what we want and it does rest of the work for us. Here, as the first thing, we specify type of the property. It's going to be QString. Then we specify the name, which will be phrase. We hit enter and everything is auto-completed. Okay, so now what do these keywords read, write, notify mean? And what is the syntax of this macro? At the very beginning, we have the type of our property. Another thing is the public name used to access it. The read keyword specifies which function will return the value of this property. In this case, it's going to be phrase getter method. It's not created yet. The write keyword specifies which function will set the value of this property. And in this case, it's going to be set phrase function. It also does not exist yet. And the notify keyword specifies the signal that will inform about the change of value for that property. Here, by default, it's phrase changed, but let's change it to phrase type because such a signal already exists in our class. Now, after pressing Alt plus Enter, we can select Generate Missing QProperty Members, and their implementations will be added to the source and header files. As you can see, the setter emits a signal whenever the value of the phrase property changed. It's missing the argument here, so let's fix it by passing private member value. And we also want to update getInput method to actually use setter instead of emitting signal only. Let's replace then signal emission with setter invocation. Set phrase. Yeah, signal is actually emitted in the setter, so let's do this way. Now, let's go to main CPP file. We will show that we can get value of the property without knowing a thing about owning class. To do this, we will implement another simple connection here that will react to phrase typed signal. As a slot, we will use a lambda function, and inside, let's use QDebug interactor.property. And as the parameter here, let's use phrase, as this is the name of the property that we want to read. Property function returns the value of the property that has a type QVariant. QVariant is a built-in Qt type which technically can be anything. You can see that it complains here about not knowing QVariant, but that's because QVariant header was not included before. Let's do that. Let's fix it then by adding the header. Here we can also use Alt-Enter and it suggests you what to do. Yes, you just use that option and it's added. And now let's remove those other connections because we will not need them and we don't need to get distracted. And now let's run the program. We need to type in something nice and hit enter. As you can see, our connection worked. We can get value of the property using generic QObject property function. And to prove that it's a generic system, we can actually implement a QObject to which we will assign pointer to interactor. And now let's also adjust the debug statement here. And now let's start the program. And let's type in something nice again. Hit enter. Yeah, and you can see that it still works. It works despite the fact that we casted the object to plain QObject type. Now let's show setting dynamic properties. We didn't add any properties to the Firefox class, so let's add some property by using generic set property function on Firefox. Set property. And these functions takes two arguments. First is the property's name. If the property exists already, for example, because we declared it using QProperty macro, then function returns true, otherwise false. As the name, let's use version. We will give our Firefox browser a version. And the second argument has to be properties value. So let's type in, I don't know, 2, 12, 12. Now let's read this property after reading interactor's phrase property. So qdebug firefox.property version, yeah, semicolon. And let's start the program. Let's type in something again. Yeah, and here it is, the version of the Firefox. So you can see that dynamic properties work. As I have mentioned, dynamic properties are not used often in regular apps. That's why I do not continue this topic. And the same is about RTTI, real-time type information. This is course for beginners and we focus on important things and most often used things. So from this episode, I would like you to remember what MOC is. And yeah, just remember that it's an extra compilation step. And thanks to this, all Qt features actually work. Thanks a lot for watching. Remember to subscribe and follow us on LinkedIn. Links are in the description. And for this episode, that's all. In the next one, we will finally start doing something nice. We will finally start looking at GUI side of Qt. And yeah, I think that that's something that you are waiting for. So see you.